Welcome once again to your VMSG Dashboard Public Health Performance Management System. As you may recall from the VMSG Introduction module, the second step in performance management is the ability to monitor the performance of your plans in the dashboard. Once the plans are developed and executing, we monitor the plans at every level in real time. In this training module, we'll walk through the performance monitoring tools at all levels. At the macro or big picture level, you can monitor any group. Groups represent the entire department, any division, any program, or any high-level plan. The micro level includes the detailed performance of any objective or activity. VMSG Public allows you to share graphically the status of any portions of any plan on public-facing web pages. Let's start at the macro level by looking at the actual dashboard. Let's start by heading over to the group screen. The dashboard is dynamic to show you the performance of the currently selected group and the first level of subgroups under it. Each dashboard user is assigned to a default group in their user profile. By default, the dashboard you see will be for your default group. If you, as a user, have been given permissions by the administrator, you can select any group and view the dashboard for that group. This means you'll have a different dashboard for each group and its related subgroups. This could also include things like your strategic plan or your accreditation plan. Let's assume that my default group is a community health division. To see the dashboard for community health, just click the traffic light up here in the top corner. This is the dashboard screen. It's a dynamic snapshot of the overall performance of community health. It's broken down into three areas. Up here in the top left corner is the overall summary of what I call the big picture. Here you can see the number of activities, objectives, or goals in each status. This button shows which group you're looking at. You can click here to go back to the group screen. You can also include any subgroups under the selected parent group with the Show Subgroups button. Remember, this shows the subgroups 2 or more levels down from the selected group, since the first level down is automatically included. You may have noticed that each of these lights is clickable. This lets me drill down to the plan elements for each status. So if I want to see these red activities, I can just click on the red light. I don't have to search through any plans to find them. At this point, maybe I can figure out why it's red and get back to the green or gold. When I'm done, I can use the back arrow to get back to the dashboard. In addition to the status lights, we have this schedule gauge. This calculates the number of days ahead of or behind schedule we are for the selected group and or subgroups. If we're on or ahead of schedule, the light is green. Up to 60 days behind schedule, it's yellow, and over 60 days, it's red. Just by looking at the number of red, yellow, green, and gold lights and the color of the schedule gauge, you can get a great idea of the performance of the group. If you'd like the dashboard to be your home page when you log in, just click this button. Every time you log in after this, you'll come to this page. If you want to drill down further, let's head down to the bottom of the screen. Down here, you can see the performance broken down 3 ways. The first view is your people. Each person assigned as an activity or an objective lead in the selected group will show up in this column. In this column, we can see the last time the person was in the dashboard and updated their assigned plans. As you can see, it's color-coded. Green indicates less than 30 days, yellow is 30 to 60 days ago, and red is over 60 days. Ideally, everyone is green so that you can be using the most real-time information possible. In this column, we can see the total FTE or full-time equivalent for each person. This is the sum of all of the activity FTE assignments for this person. You can see that Diane is at a 1.25 FTE, meaning she's doing the work of 1.25 people. This type of overload can lead to burnout and employees leaving the department. You can click on this number and see all of the activities assigned to Diane. From here, you may be able to reassign some of the activities to get her down below that 1.0 FTE level. After you've made any changes, just click the back arrow to get back to the dashboard. Lagging shows the number of activities behind schedule. It's also color-coded to indicate how far behind schedule. The days column is the same as the schedule gauge for the individual person. Overdue shows the number of activities for which the end date has come and gone, but are not yet 100% complete. Here are the number of activities in each status: red, yellow, green, and gold. If you look across any row, you can get a great indication of how that individual is performing against their assigned activities. In addition to looking at people, you can look at the same information for groups. The first column now shows the org chart underneath the selected group. Over to the right, you can see the same information you saw for the people. Or you can look at the strategic priorities from your strategic plan. Again, down this column are those strategic priorities, as you can see from our little demo organization here. And then over to the right, you can see the information just as you did for the individuals. What this screen is showing you is how are all the other plans in the department supporting your strategic plan. Your strategic plan is typically the vision for the future of the department, so you want to know that everything else you're doing is supporting that strategic plan. Up in the top right portion of the screen, you can see what we call My Priorities. These are individually selected objectives that you just want to keep your eye on. Typically, they're things that are in red and yellow status, because if they're green or gold, then they're either on track or completed in here. And these are tied to your login, so everybody's screen is going to be unique. So let's say this one just turned green and you want to get rid of it. So all you got to do is click on that objective. You're going to go to the objective screen. Down here is this little green flag. You're going to click that. It's going to turn gray. And now you're going to go back to the dashboard. And you'll notice that objective is now gone. So it's just that easy to pick things that you want to keep an eye on up there. Now let's look at performance monitoring at the micro level. Here we can see performance of any plan or group of plans over time. To demonstrate this, we'll look at our community health example plan. One of the easiest ways to look at detailed performance of any plan is just to use the basic operational plan report. This will probably be your most used report. The operational plan report can be run at the group level or at the service initiative level. If I go down here to the cookie crumb at the bottom, I can see I've got community health division selected, but I've got nothing selected in service, goal, objective, or activity. So if I run the operational plan report now, it's going to show me at the group level completely. If I were to go into services initiatives and select a specific service, and it shows up down here as, say, service number 1, then the report is just going to be at the service initiative level. So I'm going to go up to my reports menu here, and I'm going to select operational plan report. The dialog box here is asking me if I want to show any hidden services. Well, in the case of this plan, we don't have any, so we'll just select no. On this report, you can see the status of every plan element at every level. So if I scroll down here, you can see under community health, the Safe Kids program, all the way down to the various services in the community health division itself. In addition, if I want to, I can scale back and look at just, for instance, the services by clicking up here. So now when I go down here, I just see the service level, and I can go all the way back down to that activity level again. Now, if I want to show a report but don't want to necessarily show the notes that have been put in there, I can go up here and hide those. Now you see the blue note that was down here disappeared. The other thing I can do is show any documents that have been attached. So I can go up here and select document. And you'll notice this document here in green shows up, the Safe Kids operational plan. The other option I have is to be able to just show activities within a certain date range. Maybe I just want to look at activities that have an end date of 11/30/20 or before. So I'll click on here, say, okay, I'm going to change this to 11/30/20, and I'm going to hit the little save button here. Now it's going to go down and take out all of those activities that have an end date that's past 11/30/20. So it just allows me to look at things in a specific date range. The other option I have over here is the ability to show subgroups. So underneath my community health division, there's potentially another couple of groups here. So the first thing it does is take me back up to the service level here, you can see. And now it's showing the other groups. So under community health, I have the tobacco programs and I have WIC. So it allows me to look at all the subgroups underneath a specific group here. So it gives me a real good opportunity to look at the status of everything in this report. If I want to actually generate this report, I can go down to the bottom right here and click on this. It's going to give me a default name of VMSG report.htm. Let's say I want to click on that. I'm going to go back here, and I'm just going to call it VMSG report.htm, save that. It says, yeah, I want to replace that. And now I've generated the report. Down here in my browser window, you can see it generated the report, so I can click on that. And now I can see the actual report that was generated up here. So it Gives me the option to easily generate that report. Now let's look at the performance charts in the dashboard. Let's navigate to the first objective in our tobacco cessation example. Each time a service, initiative, goal, objective, or activity is saved, it creates a history record. The history records capture the state of the plan element at the time it's saved. To see the history records, just click on the hourglass. These are the history records for the selected objective. If you want to see which objective, just hover your mouse over the objective number on the cookie chrome here. Typically, the values in the status column over here will be graphed in a performance chart. History records are displayed from the latest date to the earliest date. There are times when you may want to add a history record from the past. Maybe you just entered a program plan from before the time you implemented the dashboard. Entering past records is easy. Let's go back to the objective screen. So let's go ahead and enter a new value here. So we're going to go ahead and say we want this to be 26%, and we'll go ahead and save that. Okay, now I'm going to go back to my history records. We should have a new record down here that's 26%. I'm going to click on that and say, let's go ahead and make that 1/1 of 21. So I'm going to change the date down here to, and save that. And now that sorts up to the top of our list up here. Now let's go back to our objective and let's go ahead and look at the performance chart. So now you can see all those data values that are charted in here. This is the basic performance chart. From here, you can customize the chart. Let's say you want to change the date range up here. Maybe I want to start at 9/1/20. So you'll notice it automatically changes the data values in here. So we're now at September 30th, 20 as our first data value inside the 9/1 date range here. Let's go ahead and change that back now to, well, let's say 6/1 of 20. So now we have the full data range again. Now the other thing we might want to do is look at a different time frame. So instead of just all of the values, the raw values, if you will, we can go down and say we want to look at just quarters. So now it's just going to show us the data values within the quarter measurement here. Let's go back and look at maybe days, and weeks probably are the same. I think there's one data value for each month in here. So we can look at days, weeks, or month. It's all going to be the same chart. The other thing we can do is select whether, if within a data range, we want to look at the last value in that date range, or we want to look at the average value. In this case, they're going to probably be the same. So we can select that. Up here, we can look at a vertical scale type of either percent or values. In this case, we just have percent in there. And then here's a nice option. If we have something like this where we're down at a 25, 26% value, we may want to expand the vertical scale. So instead of just 100% vertical scale, we might say, let's make it automatic. What happens at this point in time is it takes and multiplies the highest value by 110% and creates the top level of the scale. So it just gives us a larger scale. The other thing we can do, if you're an org admin user, you can go down and pick the chart the way you want it, and then go ahead and save that. And by doing that, you're going to save that so everybody who looks at this will see this as the default chart. Now, anybody can go in and change any of these values temporarily while they're looking at it to look at a different perspective. However, when they go back in, it's going to revert to the values that you as an administrator set for them. If you want to take what's in here and export it, this little button down here will actually export the data values to Excel. So it's going to give you the CSV file here. I'll go up and say, let's go ahead and save this as VMSG export plan. We'll just overwrite that one. Save that, say yes, we want to overwrite it. Close that. Now we have the plan down here. So we can go ahead and open that. It'll probably open up in Excel. So we'll click on that. Now you can see the Excel values that are in the plan. So all you're doing is exporting the history file to an Excel spreadsheet that now you can use to create your own charts, different things if you want to. So it just gives you the ability to do that export. Now let's go back up and look at the charts at the activity level. So back to my activities here, we've got the first one here. I'm going to go and look at the chart. So this is the chart for the first activity. It's roughly the same as you see it in there. Go back to my activities. This happens to be a QA or quality assurance activity. The chart's a little unique here in that in the QA activity, you may remember that we can set target values for the green and the red. So it's going to display those target values as well as the actual value on the chart here. So those are the activity and objective performance charts that you can create within the dashboard. Now let's look to see how we can share your performance with your community or your constituents. VMSG Public allows us to do exactly that. This is an example of a VMSG Public page. It consists of a set of indicator rows. So in this case, we can see the 3 indicator rows. Indicator rows can be created at any level in the plan, from the group all the way down to the activities. So in this case, we're showing Community Health Division as a group. And over here, we have the number of traffic lights in each status, the gold, the green, the yellow, and the red. In addition, we have this timeline gauge, which is showing us how we're doing against the planned timeline. These are identical to what you're seeing on the dashboard screen that we saw a little earlier here in the traffic light and the schedule gauge. You can have as many indicator rows on a page as you want, and you can create as many pages as you want. Once you've created one of these VMSG Public web pages, you're going to have this unique web address or URL that you can copy. You can paste it into an email, send it out. You can put it up on social media. You can have your IT folks put it up on your public web page so people can see specific statuses of groups, divisions, offices, programs, and such. Let's go ahead and create one of these VMSG Public pages. So we're going to go back to our dashboard. We're going to go up to our tobacco cessation program. And we'll start at the goal here, reduce smoking in high schools. So we're going to go down here. This is the VMSG Public button. I'm going to click on that. It's going to give me the opportunity to select a summary level. Underneath goals or objectives or activities, typically you're going to select activities, but you can also select to summarize by objective here. I'm going to say activities and hit the save button here. And there it is. This is the indicator row for the tobacco cessation program, the goal of reducing smoking in high schools. And again, you can see that I have the rollovers on here and I have my schedule gauge. So if I like this particular view, I'm going to go ahead and save it. So now I've created an indicator row down here. Now let's go back and create an indicator row for one of the objectives. I'm going to go up to my objectives here. We'll take the first objective, go ahead and hit the VMSG Public button. Now, because of the fact that it's an objective, the only level underneath it is activity, so it's automatically summarizing at the activity level. So here's the indicator row for that particular objective. Now, this is the summary level indicator row. Objectives are unique in that they can have 2 different levels. So let's go ahead and save this summary level one. So we've got the second row that you can see down here. We're going to go back now to our objectives. And this time we're going to look at the objective performance chart. And then we can generate a similar chart to this on our VMSG Public page. So we'll click the Public button again, and you can see the chart that it creates a little bit different. It gives you that same timeline view over here. So we'll go ahead and save that. So now we have the 3 different rows on here. So we have 3 indicator rows that we can use to create our web page. If you want to, you can use this www button to get a preview of each of the rows down there. And to create the page from this particular set of rows, we're going to select down here the ones that we want to appear on the page. And we've got these 3 selected. And then I'm going to go ahead and export them using this button. Now, I got the choice here to either create a new web page or to overwrite an existing web page. To use the overwrite when you're trying to update web pages that already have the same web link or URL out there, maybe you've got it published on your website out there and you don't want to change the URL each time. So you can overwrite that and it'll keep the same URL. In this case, we're going to go ahead and create a new one over here. So this is what it's going to look like. We're going to have the goal up here, and then we're going to have the 2 objective level indicator rows down here, the summary and the detail one. So yeah, I like that. So let's go ahead and save that. So it's given me a web page description here. So I'm going to go ahead and put in tobacco cessation. And then I'll go ahead and save that. Again, if I wanted to look at that page at any point, I can click the preview button here and do that. Now, this is the web address that was just created for that page. So I can copy that. I can just hit Control C here, copy that. Now, if I want to look at the actual web page, I can just go up and open a new browser tab up here. And up in my top, I'm going to go ahead and hit Control V and put that in, hit Enter, and there's the page. So this is the page we just created. It's just that easy to create pages once you have all of your information in the system here. Once you've got all these indicator rows and pages created, you can go back here. Let's go to the main menu and scroll down to the bottom. You can see we have Manage Performance Indicator Rows and Manage Public Web Pages down here. So I'm going to say Manage Performance Indicator Rows. So down here, you can see the 3 indicator rows that we have. One of the things that you can do is maybe you want to reverse the order of the last 2 rows, let's say. So you've got this sort order over here. You notice they're separated by 10. So I got 300 and 310. So let's say I want to put this one before 300. So I might just put it in there as 295 and save that. So now it's up 1. So now when I generate this page again, let's go ahead and say, let's overwrite that particular one and export it. So now what I did basically just reverse these 2. So you can set the sort order very easily on how you want these indicator rows to appear on the web page here. So now back to our main menu, indicator rows. So one thing I'm sure you've noticed is that the indicator rows have this crazy codes in here. This is just pure HTML. So what you can do is actually, by using a few HTML tags, you can look at the description of each indicator row and make it whatever you want it to be in here. So let's go ahead and look at some of those HTML tags that you might want to use here. Each code starts with a less than sign and ends with a greater than sign over here. These are called tags. Typically, there's a close tag as well, and the close tag has a less than sign, a slash, and then a greater than sign over here. So as an example, you can see what we're doing here is setting the font. We're setting it to an Arial font, size 2, which is an HTML standard size, and then the color is navy in here. And then I'm saying the text here, and then I'm closing that. And what you end up with is something that looks like this. Text here in a blue font in an Arial font here. So that's an example of how you can use the HTML in that description to make it look different here. Some of the other things you'll see is bold. So you got a B in the little brackets, bold text here, and then a closed B. So it's going to end up looking like bold text, obviously. Italics as well. So I can say inside the I and the slash I can put in italic text here, and you see that it looks like italic text over there. And this was a little bit unique. The BR or line break is actually just a carriage return you can insert. You can put several in a row if you want multiple spaces, but you also notice it doesn't have an end tag. So it's just a line break. So I just use the BR. So those are the most common HTML codes you use. If you want to go through and research on Google or something, there's lots and lots of different HTML codes that you might want to use out there for various things, but it does allow you to customize the look of the descriptions on the indicator rows out there. One nice thing is when you customize the indicator rows, let's say you go out and update the indicator row with new information, you give the option to overwrite the existing one. When you do that, you don't overwrite the description. So it maintains your nicely formatted description, but puts new data in there. So it just allows you to update the information so you can update your web pages on a regular basis in there. Now let's go back and look at the web pages themselves here. So we'll go back to the main menu, go down to Manage VMSG Public Web Pages, and you can see each of the web pages you created shows up down here. Down at the bottom, one thing you always have is this unique web address that you can grab from right here, copy it, Control C, paste it into an email, whatever you want to do with it here. There's also a unique description down here, and this is just a description for your use to kind of set aside the different pages so you understand which is which down there. If you want to delete any of these web pages, you just click the red X here to delete them. If you want to preview any of them, you can hit the preview button again, just like we did before. So this just gives you the ability to manage each of the pages and keep them all up to date in here. We hope you enjoyed this module on performance monitoring at all levels. From this training module, we hope you now have a good idea on how to monitor your department, divisions, offices, programs, and plans at the macro level, monitor any plan element at the micro level, and how to share your performance with your community and constituents. Best of luck, and please contact us if you have any questions. And once again, remember, it's progress over perfection.